531PI.
It is 15 minutes past 7 o'clock. You're listening to Pacific Mornings on 531PI. I'm William Terite. It's great to have your company this Wednesday. Would love to hear from you. Pacific Mornings at pmn.co.nz or through our Facebook page, 531PI. Time to take a look back at the year that was for the coalition government. Joining me now for his final interview of the year is Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. A very good morning to you.
Morning, William. Good to be with you.
Likewise. Hey, look, this is going to be a bit of a departure today because I thought instead of a back and forth jostle, let's just have a reflection on the year that has been.
I appreciate that, William. That's very kind of you.
Oh, look, I'm all about balance. Look, I will say from the outset, in terms of what I've been happy to see from the coalition government this year, particularly was the tax cuts, because it was what was promised throughout the election campaign. It was delivered, so credit where credit is due. When you look back on the year that has been, what have you been perhaps most proudest of?
Oh, look, I'm really proud of the fact that we've actually, formed a good team, that I've actually been able to put the right ministers on the right assignments who are very focused on what we're asking them to do. We're running government very differently. We work in these 13-week quarters where we actually agree a set of actions that are all designed to deal with the problems and the challenges that we've got and the opportunities that we have around the economy, around law and order, around better health and better education. And so they're difficult decisions, and it's been tough, but actually I'm really proud of how we've formed that team. I'm also very proud of the progress we're starting to make on the economic mess that we've inherited and actually how we move that on. And then I think the third thing is we've made some very good connections internationally to announce that New Zealand is back. We're back in business, and we're wanting to build deeper relationships and partnerships across the region. And that's really important for our future because New Zealand doesn't get rich by selling stuff to each other. We get rich by selling our products and services to 8 billion people in 195 other countries. And they don't need us because we're so small, but we've got to find a way to get share of mind and to be able to do that as well. So that's been really satisfying to see that working and to see that our plan is starting to work. More New Zealanders feel the country's heading in the right direction versus the wrong direction as it was before the election. More New Zealanders can say, yes, it's been really tough, and it has been because we have had some real difficult economic challenges we haven't seen for decades to face up to. But they can see the plan is starting to work. They've got more money in their pocket because the cost of living is coming down because interest rates and inflation are down. We've seen for the first time in a long time, crime is down and starting to turn, which is really good. Total crime is down 3%, which is really impressive. Ram raids are down 60%. Police are out on the beat up 30%. So those are all decisions that we've taken that are actually starting to, even within a 12-month period, starting to get some results after 6 years. So there are some really good and encouraging signs, but it's also been you're making tough decisions, because you're in a turnaround job. New Zealand needs to get sorted, and we need to get set up for a great future. And I do end the year going, man, we do have a fantastic future, and very excited about the future as well. So a range of reflections.
Yeah, certainly. Look, is it also fair to say that perhaps business sentiment is changing in this country as well, and also economic conditions, the OCR coming down? What do you make of current business sentiment from what you're hearing or what you're seeing?
Look, our basic problem, William, has been that there are just 5 things you have to do to get the economics straight in any country, but in particular New Zealand. And we learned this stuff well and under, say, Key and English, and even under Clark and Cullen. Those governments manage those issues, the economy well. And essentially is you've got to get government spending focused, and it's got to be delivering for you. Otherwise, you're just spending and you're ending up spending, borrowing, and taxing more, which is what's happened. That then leads into inflation. That then leads into interest rates. When interest rates are high, the economy slows down and goes into recession, which is what we've been in for the last 3 years. Our economy has been shrinking. And when economies shrink, people end up losing their jobs. And so if you care about working middle class and lower class, lower middle working income New Zealanders, you actually have to manage the economy really well. And so those are difficult decisions. So we're getting the spending under control, and we'll have some more challenges with that. That has led to inflation coming down and interest rates coming down, which is lowering the cost of living. But now our real challenge as we go forward into the next year is actually translating that confidence, and you're right. We have business confidence at a 10-year high. I saw this morning that farmer confidence is the highest it's been for a long time. Consumer confidence is up highest it's been in 3 years. So all of that's good sentiment and momentum. And the New Zealand public are basically saying, and the numbers that I see and that we see, there's more support for our government than there was on election night. And they believe that, yes, it's been tough, but they know that we've got a plan, and they can see the plan is starting to work, as difficult as it has been. So, I think now we've got to translate that into growth and obviously into higher paying jobs.
Certainly. Here's a more personal question for you. Obviously, top job in the land. Do you ever, and I was writing about this yesterday in an opinion piece. Now, I'm 24. I do still shake that imposter syndrome sometimes. Do you have it as Prime Minister?
I think everybody has it on some level, and I think I've sort of learnt, as I think I've told you a little of my story. My parents left school at 15, 16. I was the first. They had me young. I was the first to go to university in my family, and so I've sort of learnt. And my father used to say to me, keep stepping out of your comfort zone into difficult and challenging situations, because that's actually how you grow your comfort level, essentially, and actually those new experiences actually help grow you. And so I'm sure it's the same for you. I mean, you're 24 years old. It's incredible, right, of what you've achieved in broadcasting already. You do a great job. You're highly professional, but you must be like all of us. You step out and do things. And I'm the same. I came to politics 4 years ago, and people will say, "Oh, you're not a career politician," and go, "Well, actually, that's not a bad thing. I've stepped out of, and I've chosen to do this, because I think I've got something to offer." And I think you walk towards the conflict or the difficulties or the challenges always, and that's how you grow, your circle of influence and comfort as well. So taking on new experiences, feeling the fear, doing it anyway. I've kind of learned from a young age with big jobs in my past life, that's really important, and it's no different here. I'm doing lots of things for the first time. I think every prime minister is in the same place. There's only been 42 of us that have done this job, and I think I've known a few of them, and I know they've all wrestled with the same pieces of it.
Certainly. Hey, look, let's reflect on perhaps challenges now, or dare I say lowlights. It is undeniable that perhaps what has kind of tainted this coalition government has been the treaty principles bill. Any regrets there in the way that it's been handled?
No, but just an acknowledgement that there is genuinely, frustration, and it's a really, strong. There are strongly held views, legitimately on both sides of the treaty principles bill. And I get that, and I understand that, and it was the most difficult thing to negotiate in the coalition, as I've said. But we're in an MMP environment, and we had to find a way through. I didn't want to do it, and I'm sure David Seymour didn't want to get to the answer that we got to either. He didn't get what he wanted. I didn't get what I wanted. We found a compromise, and I appreciate that there are strong views on both sides that are legitimate. But that frustration and that division also did build up under the previous government, and was there when we went to the election, because you don't go create things like a Māori Health Authority or Māori wards from central Wellington, and the co-governance of three waters, all of those issues where Chris Hipkins and Jacinda Ardern didn't take the New Zealand people on that journey, unlike, say, Jim Bolger did on treaty settlements. And so, that has built up. But the answer is not a simplistic treaty principles bill, right? You do not go right off 184 years of debate and discussion around the treaty with a simple bill. We have an obligation to make sure all New Zealanders have equal rights. And we also have an obligation to make sure we uphold our obligations under the treaty. And over 184 years, we've had huge debate, discussion about it. And there's been moments when we don't disagree on an issue, but we keep grappling and wrestling with the treaty, and it's made our country better. So the right answer, I think, is not a simplistic treaty principles bill. The right answer is, in fact, to continue to wrestle and grapple with the issues individually. And we've done that. We just don't believe a Māori Health Authority delivers better outcomes for Māori. We don't think that's the way to get that job done. We don't believe that co-governance of three waters assets is necessary and appropriate. So we work our way through those issues. Now we can disagree, but on those things. But the other thing I just say to you, William, is turns out that Māori want higher incomes, Māori want better houses, Māori want better educational outcomes, health outcomes. They want to be less victims of crime. And so whether you're Māori or non-Māori, what people need is a government that was elected to rebuild the economy, restore law and order, deliver better health and public, and education. And frankly, the treaty principles bill isn't relevant to that.
Not to make this too much of a wishy-washy interview, but any regrets from you this year?
Oh, look, I don't really live with too many regrets, because I think, I think we've got the rocks right to sort of get the momentum, that we need to start to get moving with. I'm proud of the progress. I know it's been tough, but I can see that, we're moving in the right direction. But there are obviously things that I wish, I could have communicated better, or the government could have communicated better. If I think about cancer drugs, we spent $605 million. That was a really hard one to find the money to fund what was fantastic program. We've got 52, I think, 54 new drugs that have come into the system that are going to help 175,000 Kiwis. And we've all got friends and family that are wrestling with cancer, and some of those drugs, really, have really helped those situations, or alleviated some of that stress and anxiety as people are in that battle. But we could have communicated that better. We got there in the end, but that was a big investment for the government, and as we went through the budget process, we were still wrestling with how to make it all work, and we could have probably done that better.
Totally. Just very quickly, where to from here? Obviously, moving into next year for the government.
But I have, like 12 months into this job, I feel more optimistic than I'm a positive person, but I feel more optimistic about New Zealand's future, because when you look at it, we're bang smack in the middle of this Indo-Pacific region where hundreds of millions of people are being lifted out of poverty and put into the middle classes. And we've got great products and services to sell them. Yes, there's tensions in New Zealand, but we've got great social and democratic institutions relative to other countries around the world. We've got incredible, abundant natural resources, and we've got the most amazing, incredible people who are creative and innovative and driven. So there should be no excuses for why we can't do exceptionally well in the world. Now that's the future. That's the where we want to get to. That's the destination. Right now, we've got to acknowledge we've got to do a turnaround job to get ourselves sorted, so that we can actually use the plan and have a plan that gets us there. And we do have that plan, and we're marching our way through it. And I think people are getting a sense that it's starting to work. But we have a great future ahead of us. We are building a country that actually our kids and our grandkids will want to see that they can realize their dreams in as well. And we've got a lot of work to do together. It's not just government, it's community, it's business, and government, local or central, that's got a responsibility to work together, doing the things that we uniquely can do to make sure that this is a better place.
Final interview of the year. Surely you're going to get a break, like the rest of ministers, I hope, to an extent. What are other plans for the holidays?
Yeah, look, just want to get in the t-shirt and shorts and go fishing with my wife, and catch up with my family, who I haven't seen heaps of through the course of the year. And so we'll have a big Christmas day where Amanda's family and my family will come together, and we'll host Christmas Day. And then Amanda and I hope to get to the beach, and my daughter's coming back in from overseas, and my son will probably be working, but have a couple of days off as well. But just be great to hang out with my parents and brothers and their families and friends that haven't seen maybe through the course of the year as much as I would normally do. And so it's a good time just to refresh, recharge, and and I want that for all New Zealanders. It's been a difficult year. It's been a challenging year, tough year for so many Kiwis. They've got a sense it's getting better, but please take the time to refresh, recharge, make those memories with your loved ones. And have a break and ready to come back in 2025.
For sure. Hey, look, here's a cheeky question just before I let you go. And why not? You got a favorite Christmas song?
Oh, I don't think you can go past Michael Bublé. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. I think that's the first Christmas song you want to hear. Not really. I'm not a fan of doing it in October, but I think late November that can kick off. And then I like the lead in. We sort of get the real Christmas tree, and we do it early, about 1st of December always. I think that's very much classic. You can't go past Bublé.
Brilliant. Hey, awesome. Hey, thank you so much for your time, Prime Minister, carving out a bit of your time each month to talk to our Pacific community. It doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you very much for doing that. We really appreciate it. And you have a lovely Christmas and New Year when you get to it.
You do the same, William, and thanks for the chats, and we look forward to carrying on next year. It'll be great fun.
Likewise.